everyone, it's Lisa from I Dream in Soap. Welcome to my channel. It's so lovely to have you here. We're going to make a nice natural soap today, and I'm concentrating on using clays to colour the soap. So what I've got here, I'm going to treat my clays in two different ways because I'm going to do sort of two layers. First I'm going to do a green layer. Now this is beautiful glacial marine clay. So I'm going to pop that in my green layer. And then I'm going to do another layer with a little in the pot swirl. So in the pot swirl, I'm going to have some nice white kaolin clay as sort of the base of the swirl. And then some nice pink French clay. And then a little bit more of that glacial marine clay. So with these three, because I'm going to bring my batter to emulsion and then add the colours after, I'm actually going to pre-disperse these just in some water. Now, I'm not going to worry about discounting the water in my lye or anything. You know, you could do if you're that fussy. I do a decent water discount anyway, so I'm just going to, you know, add, it's literally going to be sort of a couple of tablespoons of water. It's really not going to make much difference, just to get these dispersed. And the reason I'm doing that is so that clays can be tricky to disperse into soap when it's already at an emulsion. Without blending them a lot, you can get a lot of speckles. Okay, so let's just give this a stir around and get these mixed in. Okay, so that's just getting that clay sort of prepared and loosened up, and it should then not give us the speckles in our soap. It'll be just easier to mix in. And it gives you a chance to sort of play with it a bit longer and make sure you've got any of those lumps out before putting it in your soap. Okay, so that's the pink. And then there's that beautiful glacial marine clay. That's a really beautiful smooth clay, that is. That would probably blend in quite well on its own, but I don't want to take the risk. Okay, so there's those, and I'm just going to leave those to sort of sit in the water until I actually need them. And then for my first layer, I'm going to add this glacial marine clay, and I'm doing this at a rate of about 1 tablespoon per pound of oils. That's sort of a rate that people sort of like to use. I'm just under that actually. I'm using it at 2% of my oils. I obviously, in the UK here, we have to weigh everything out properly in grams. So I'm doing 2% of my oils. But I know some people, you know, just do the whole tablespoon thing. So let's get this clay blended into these oils. Okay, and because I'm putting it into the oils before the lye, gosh, then I can obviously just keep blending this until I'm really happy. Okay, that looks like that's blended in really beautifully. A good way to tell is obviously you can just lift up your stick blender or tip up your jug. And if you do that, and then you can see as the oil runs back, if you've got any blobs of clay or anything left, then you know that perhaps it's not blended in as well as you thought it might be. But mine seems to be perfectly fine, so that's great. Now, because I'm making a natural soap, I'm going to be fragrancing this with essential oils. So I've got my essential oil blend, and this blend is a blend of peppermint, eucalyptus and cedarwood atlas. Tiny bit more, it's sort of about a third, but I've just got a fraction more peppermint in mine. So just a little bit more. So that is a really nice blend there. So that's the blend that I've got there. Let's get this soap mixed up then. So here's my lye solution and my sodium lactate. So we've got that just to sort of a nice trace, not too light, but it certainly is add a trace. So I'm just now going to add my essential oil blend in there. This is the essential oil for my whole soap, so I'm just going to obviously take off what I want for this layer. Let's just get this mixed in. Okay, that's actually thinned out my trace a bit, and I find that quite common with something like a peppermint essential oil. That does, I find, thin out your trace. And the other two things, the eucalyptus and the cedarwood as well, those are pretty good as well. So as you can see here, that's got a nice thin trace on it. I may even give that a little tiny blend just because I want this as a layer to set up. Yeah, I think that will do. I don't want to do too much. Okay, so let's just get this scraped off. As you can see, that essential oil blend's acting nicely. I'm soaping about, certainly when I did my oils and my lye, they were both about low 80s, sort of 81, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Right, let's get this poured in the mould. I'm just going to do a very simple pour first of all. So I've got my mould here. This is just my silicone lined mould from Custom Craft Tools. And I'm going to do using my Cheshire Cat, the thing that holds it on different angles as well. So a bit of a Custom Craft Tools day. I'm just going to start off just by pouring some of that in. I'm just going to pop it on here and gently tip it up. If you can see that, it's really on quite an angle, so I hope I'm going to be okay. I may actually have to put it up a bit more. Let's tilt it up a bit more so I can get this soap in, and then see if I can tip it over later. Makes it really tricky to scrape the jug out and get the rest of it in there. So actually, if I can get that in. There we are, not bad. Okay, let's just give that a little shimmy. And now what I want to do is because I ideally want this to be a diagonal soap, I'm just going to try and lower this a bit more without it pouring out of the top. So a bit tricky. Maybe about there. I'd ideally like to do it a bit more, but I don't know if I'm going to be brave enough to risk it coming out over the top. What you could do when you do this is tape up a border here so it can't flow out. I don't know if my next knobble, as it were, my next link on this will allow me to do that. So let me just go down one more. I'm going to try. No, I've not got anywhere to hook it in on my thing. So I would have liked to have tilted over a fraction more, but I'm just not going to be able to. But I think that's all right. It's close enough to the top for me. So now I just want to leave that to set up before I do my next layer. Let's get that second layer made up. So I'm going to make all my oils, or pour all my lye into the remainder of all my oils. Okay, now I'm going to split this up. Now in total I had 700 grams of oils here. So I was going to do 500 grams, the bulk of it in the white kaolin clay. And then I'm just going to do 100 grams each of the oil. So that'll turn out to be about 140 grams of soap in each of the two colours. So I'm just going to split those smaller amounts off. And let's get those clays mixed in. So first of all, that kaolin into the big pot. Kaolin clay will never make your soap go white like titanium dioxide. It can add a little bit of whiteness, but not a huge amount. Really, to get nice white soap, you just want to be using nice light oils, light in colour oils. And this beautiful glacial marine clay. And finally the pink clay. Okay, I'm just checking them to make sure I've got no little specks. So certainly the pink clay one looks good. Let's have a look at this glacial clay. I see a couple of tiny specks in there, so I'm just going to mix that a bit more. I might even get my little mini mixer on that. And then I can see some specks in the kaolin. So I am just going to give those a little blend up. Right, I'm happy with those. Let's get that essential oil blend in. Right, now let's get, oh hang on a minute, I blobbed some oil in there, didn't I? Some essential oil in there and didn't mix it. There we go. Now let's get that mould out. Okay, so by this time hopefully that's all nicely set up. Let's pour the bulk of the white in first. And then we're just going to add the others. Bit of the pink, bit more white. Now, not really any rhyme or reason about how I'm pouring these in, so it's not a specific technique. I just poured that white there because I wanted it to push the colours back this way a bit. Starting to thicken a little bit, but that's fine. Okay. So now I'm just going to do a hanger swirl just on that side. Now this is my little trusty hanger that is actually made from an old hanger. I actually wound some electrical tape around it as well, just because I wanted it a little bit thicker. Okay, so I'm just going to go down this side. I don't want to obviously dig into the bit that's set up, so I'm just going to go in. That will do. Then I'm just going to go down once like that. Okay, I think that will be fine. So I'm just going to finish off with the tiny bits of scrapings that I've got from the jugs. Okay, it's quite a subtle colouring, which I like. Right, that would do. And then let's just swirl that top. It's always a good idea to wipe your sides before you swirl. I don't know if you're ever sort of a bit clumsy like me. Sometimes I go in and I try and sort of wipe and clean the sides off like that, and you end up like splodging your swirl on the top. So if you splodge it while you're wiping now, it doesn't matter. Right, so let's go and do this swirl. There we are. It's really quite a subtle top, and I like that actually. I think it's nice and gentle. Right, so there's that done. Just going to cover that and pop that away to go through gel overnight, and then we'll see what that's like tomorrow or the next day or whenever. Let's have a look at this soap, shall we, and give it a cut. Now, it's a couple of days later. Now, that design on the top, very, very subtle. I do like it, it's quite pretty, and I do really like how that green clay, remember that glacial marine clay, has held up after saponification. That's come out really lovely colour. So let's get this cut, shall we? Cool. It's really hard. I'm just going carefully. I don't want to break any wires. Gosh, that was a hard bar. And my normal soap recipe is not normally that hard after a couple of days. Must be all that clay in it, I guess. Right. So let's have a look at what we've got. Ah, they've come out really pretty. I must admit, I think I would have liked that little detail to maybe have been a little bit darker. As it's swirled in, it's lightened it quite a bit. But I actually really like that. I think that's really pretty and really subtle design, and I do think it's come out really nice. Fragrance is lovely. That mint, a bit of the mint in there, and the cedarwood, you can smell that. It does smell really nice. So I'm really pleased with those. Sure, they're going to be fairly similar all the way through. Let's just grab another couple. So there we are. Quite a nice gentle little swirl up the top there. But I do think it's actually quite a smart bar of soap, isn't it? It looks a bit like a suit there with the shirt when I put the two through together. Okay, so there's my natural soap, just made with clays for the colouring.
And here's a final photo of the soap. I hope you've enjoyed this video and you like the soap. If you have, it would be great if you gave me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see what I'm making in the future, why not subscribe to my channel? Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy soaping.